Saint John is a rising star in hip hop who seems to have stepped onto the scene with the full package of good music, charisma, and a strong brand that will lead to long term success. While it may seem like Saint John came out of nowhere and made waves, that is not the case. He went from a songwriter in the background of the industry to performing festivals like Rolling Loud and is now considered an artist to build a label around. At the core of this success is one principle: taking your time. Taking the time to clarify your vision, taking your time to craft your brand, taking your time to develop your style, all of that allows artists to build their foundation for success and put themselves in a position to be successful while creating exactly the art that they want.
What conversation you and Jay have?
We talked about energy after that. Because I was like, yo, I'm in this room. First of all, I said, thank you for having me here. I'm in this room and I imagine this, like my words got me here. Not because I wrote songs, because I spoke it into existence. I said it over and over and over and held a picture in my mind. He said, yeah, I've been doing that my whole life.
Manifesting.
Yeah. Just bring things to the universe.
Vision is where it all starts for anyone wanting to build something. You can't build without knowing where you want to go. For a lot of young artists or up-and-coming artists, they're creating, posting on social media, are front-facing and figuring out their career on the fly, which is cool. You have to be working, but often, because of how the business has changed, artists are getting opportunities on the biggest stages earlier than they may be ready for. Often it leads to artists who don't have a clear direction for their career. They may remake the same song over and over. They may end up as one-hit wonders. They may perform bigger and bigger spectacles to stay relevant. Their career may fall off. Then years later, they come back with a new style. What happens when an artist gets to the main stage once they're sure of themselves and where they want to take their career? Often they're in a better position to succeed.
I'll walk you through it. I'll slow walk
Okay.
you. It's funny because the first time you see, I'm as I am. I come like this, but I've been doing this quietly when no one was looking, which is the best possible way to do it. I'm from Brooklyn. I started in songwriting, so I came into music through the back door. Right? You songwriting, you're just like the help in the room. You're the guy with the champagne, and you got the whatever they hold the champagne on.
So you wrote songs on something that we would know?
Yeah, I wrote songs for Usher, Jadena, Kaiser,
Oh, wow.
Nico, and Vince.
Okay,
Like,
but
I
how
was
did you
probably
get there,
writing
though?
records.
Because there's a lot of people who write for, passion projects, but how did you get connected to these huge artists?
I was putting out, I wasn't connected to them. My songs were finding them in ways that I just didn't know, that I couldn't. I didn't have those resources. So I'm a kid from Brooklyn. I'm making music. I'm putting out projects, right?
On the internet?
Yeah. I was putting
Okay.
out records. So I was putting out records, and then I wrote a song for a friend of mine. Like, I wrote a chorus for him, and it changed everything for me. That simple. It didn't happen overnight.
Of course.
Like, you get what I'm saying?
Was
Yeah,
it
Like,
2-3 years?
It was way more. I spent a half a decade working on the blueprint. I say that in a song of mine, and I really mean it, because it takes a concentrated amount of time just to look at what you're trying to do and explore wherever you're trying to go. And I did that. I needed to know where I was trying to go and the path to get there, right? Nothing happens accidentally. This mint green Montclair coating accident. I knew this was sexy. I deserved it, right?
But now you can relate to this, Biggs, because you and Hove and Dame, right? You
Yeah.
guys similar, right? Like you
Definitely.
guys was,
No one
How old
gave
were
us
you
a-
when you met Hove and Dame, and now like
well, Dame I met when I was about 14.
right?
And
Harlem.
Jay, in Harlem. And Jay probably around 18, so about 4 years later.
But Reasonable Doubt didn't drop until
4 years after that. So 18, I met Jay. It then dropped to about when I was 21, 22.
and so about that, and the reason I bring that up is firsthand about that, how long that takes.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I just actually posted something about Jay speaking on that, how he had to, before I met him, was selling songs to record stores, going and collecting $100, going back, printing up more, going, dropping them off, and nobody wanted to sign him. So it was a hardship, but it was something that we learned from, and it actually gave us more grit. It made us go harder and
you-
appreciate everything.
Well, I was going to say, would you say that now, right, with all of your success, ups and good and bad, peaks and valleys, right? would you say that the headline in all of it is when you take your time, there's just more equity there and there's just more
Yeah, definitely. 'Cause
understanding?
if we would have signed, it would have been a different deal. So it made us take things in our own hand and then become independent. So we was forced to be independent.
And are you independent as an artist?
I have a partnership.
And so how does that work?
I mean, it's a 50-50
With who?
with Hitco.
Hitco. That's L.A. Reid.
Yeah.
And so you write, do whatever you're going to do. They help you get it out the door.
Well, yeah. I mean, we create the music, we create the idea of what we're trying to do, and then when it's time to mobilize, we go have a conversation. The aim is to scale it, to get it, on the radio, to get it through speakers.
Exposed to people.
Yeah.
Listen close. St. John mentions that he spent half a decade figuring out who he wanted to be and creating a blueprint for his career, all while learning the business. That opened the door for a favorable partnership. In addition, by taking the time to develop your vision, you can properly build a team that is aligned to your goals and visions and will help you succeed.
Before that, did anybody else kind of show interest and want to get involved?
I mean, yeah, I got a lot of other friends. I tried there's other people that tried to manage me, and it just didn't necessarily make sense, and it wasn't an ideal or a perfect fit, right?
Right.
Because, man, any type of business relationship is a marriage. You get married. I'm married to your ideas. I'm married to your principles. I'm married to your work ethic. So lots of marriages fail as a result of that. This is just a happy marriage.
Often that process of defining your vision and learning happens best when an artist is in the background and can learn through observation.
Was it hard for you to be in the background? Was it hard for you to kind of play that position? Were you writing just trying to break out?
Well, here's the thing. The first thing you learn is to be a role player. Right? You're a team leader when you're an artist.
Right.
You become a team leader. As a writer, you're a contributor. You're not the quarterback. You're on the defensive line. You're just waiting for an opportunity to show up and show that you're worth something.
Right.
It took some humility. It took saying, even if you deserve to be number one, go prove it. Sit still. Pay attention. So it was a bit challenging, but I wanted to be great at it.
Right.
So I focused myself into my art, and I muted myself. You can mute yourself. It's possible.
Yeah.
You don't have to. Everything loud doesn't have to be talkative.
Being in the background allows you to get indirect experience, learn through observation and from others, and comes without the pressure of the spotlight. So when you do get the chance to take the main stage, you have your bearings and know where you want to go and what you want to do. A recurring theme of all these case studies so far is that taking the time to fully crystallize the vision for your career is essential. Your career shouldn't be looked at as a sprint to the top. It requires proper preparation to build a foundation for sustained success. Your vision has to be past a 12 to 18 month timeline and look years down the line to position yourself to make good business decisions and get the best deals.
Yeah, I come from the business side, right? Because I came from the back door writing songs for other people.
Right.
So I had to be business savvy. Not to mention, you can't survive in this business without watching your numbers.
Why are we still here? If that's the truth, why are we still hearing the same fucked up stories of niggas in bad deals, the niggas getting sued? What are people not learning about this game?
The same shit the niggas been learning forever. The same things that niggas could have learned back when Cadillac Records was a thing. They didn't learn that shit in the 90s, right? When hip hop was booming. It's the same cycle. Niggas is lording by the money. It's attractive. You ain't never had a dollar and a nigga offer you $500,000. That sound like all the money you need for the rest of your life. You don't care what the terms look like. Nobody guided you to figure out that you might last beyond these 12 or 18 months that this is booming, right? You grew up in a hood. You used to run into the store every day on a daily basis. You're going to get the oodles and noodles, right? You're going to get the soda. You ain't thinking long term. We're not structured to think long term in those circumstances. It's daily. I got to win today. So if a nigga got enough to sustain himself for 30 days is 100 years in the hood, right? It never evaporates.
Right.
And then 30 days come and the 500,000 turn into 1,000 and you fucked up again. So they just don't know, but they don't got the information. The information isn't broadcasted wide. That's what you know for a fact. Right? Living on the internet, being any type of person is sort of vigilant and paying attention, the information is never broadcasted in a way that's easy to ingest. Never. It's always the shit you got to work for, research for, dig into.
Once the vision is clear and you know who you want to be as an artist, the brand building is able to happen. A brand is the summation of your unique story. It's your experiences, goals, interests, and mission pulled together and displayed authentically to your audience to give them a reason to choose you and allow them to deeply connect with you. It's the identity you and your team craft and represent through your actions, visuals, whether they are logo, attire, haircut, or the way you carry yourself. Together, these aspects add up to the entire package and make you uniquely appealing to your fan base. Needless to say, branding is important.
Just everything you got going on, man. Your branding is amazing.
You like it?
Yeah, how big is your team? You would think like you have like an army behind you as far as just your branding, your video concepts, like your fan base is crazy.
Yeah.
Like, what's going on with the branding thing?
He said, yeah.
Yeah.
Branding is important. Branding is something I do hands-on myself.
Okay.
I'm super involved in things that are creative, design-oriented. Anything like that I'm into, right? I like colors and shapes and, signs and posters and Post-its. I like all of that.
As far as with branding, like why do you think branding is so important, like for you?
I mean,
as
it's
an
awareness. For me, it's how you tell a story. It's how you present it. The difference between the person that you go home with and the person that you don't go home with is the packaging. You like how it was presented to you. You like when she walked up to you, when she whispered in her ear, the red heels. You like the lip gloss, right? You like the way the silk fell. First of all, I'm painting the whole picture about me. Right, relax, right?
I was about to say,
Talk
you was
about
there
my
with me on
life.
Friday? You figuring out my whole scenario.
But you like that. You like how organized it was. Like seduction is in the presentation.
Right.
And I like to practice the art of seduction even when it comes to branding. It has to be sexy.
Not many artists come into the game with their brands already developed and accompanying businesses and brands ready to go. However, this is one distinguishing factor for Saint John. A major part of the Saint John brand is Christian Sex Club. Saint John is the artist, and Christian Sex Club, the clothing brand, are connected but can stand independently as well. It's a perfect synchronization. As Saint John builds his personal brand, his fan base, and creates music, it brings attention to Christian Sex Club. As he rises, so does this Christian Sex Club brand. At the same time, if Saint John takes a break from the spotlight as he works on his next project or another creative endeavor, Christian Sex Club isn't only making Saint John merch, it's an entity producing clothing for people who love the brand as well, regardless of if you like Saint John or not. So it's a revenue stream and brand to boost the overall equity and image of Saint John.
Let's talk about the clothes first. You came through flourishing.
Yeah, you got
some
the Christian Sex Club
socks as well.
Right,
I see the hoodies everywhere.
Absolutely. He got on Christian Sex Club silk pants right now.
Okay.
I got on boxers. I got on the saddleback. Man, everything is possible.
The line is dope. I know you have your own stuff as well.
Well, this is the line.
Well, because the lime green shirt, I want to bring that shirt up.
Yeah.
Is that part of the Christian Sex Club?
Well, yeah. So Christian Sex Club is a brand, right?
Yeah.
It's the name of my brand, and then there are merchandising parts of it, meaning it's like tour merch. So Christian Sex Club makes everything that I like, and then my tour merch exclusively Christian Sex Club makes. Anything that says St. John, you'll see it.
You guys got to go on his Instagram. There's a link. You can hit all that stuff and then and see all the merch. I saw a shirt that I wanted, but it's sold out.
Yo, that was a hyper quick strike item. What I mean by that is we didn't make a lot of those.
Yeah.
We only sell them like a really small batch. And long before we even got to Arizona, they were gone. Fam, they were gone in the first 2 cities.
For real now. That's
like
a cool
that.
design. Do you design everything?
Well, I'm involved in everything. I'm creative director at Christian Sex Club. But
That's
I don't
cool.
fashion myself as a designer. I don't think of myself as that. I
Okay.
think there are other people who are just better equipped at technically putting things together. I have an idea of
And then
exactly
they-
what I
yeah.
want to do, and then I go relay it to the team around me, and we all get our hands dirty and we make it.
That's super dope, man.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Yeah, everything y'all got on is fly. The socks is fly. Can people just purchase these as well, right?
Absolutely. You can just go to ChristianSexClub.com. You can get socks. You can get silks. You can get boxes. You can be as beautiful as you think you are in your mind. I can make it for you in real time.
This doesn't have to be limited to clothing brands for artists. It can be production companies where every creative work an artist puts out, like movies or videos, is branded under that. We've seen artists do weed lines. It can be anything, but taking the time to build that brand opens up those possibilities. Beyond building adjacent and connected brands, it is crucial for artists to focus on building their personal brands to establish a true fan base as they come up. A brand is necessary because it gives you a greater psychological connection with your fan base. It is the value that you offer that extends beyond your music. It allows you to create a magnetic force. The first part of that, after solidifying the vision that's true to who you are, is picking a strategy that fits the brand you're building. Listen as Saint John breaks down how he operates. states,
Your packaging and your delivery as being like the art of seduction. I never really heard it from that point of view,
Yeah.
which is really interesting. So how do you like survive or do well in a climate that's like a microwave climate right now? Like kids are like just putting stuff out
music out, yeah.
week after week, mixtape after mixtape. Like, how do you grab people's attention with, taking your time and, really executing delivery and all that good stuff?
It just has to be better. That's it.
Right.
Right. If I'm competing in a space where people are doing more, whatever I do just has to be better. Right.
Quality
on
over
a
quantity.
tier.
Right.
I absolutely believe in that. If you do something exceptionally well, you don't got to do it 96 times, right? You might have to display it 96 times, but you don't got to do it 96 times. Right? If it's exceptional, right? We know when Jordan hit the shot.
Right.
Everybody saw it. That's what I'm talking about because it was that impressive, the fadeaway. Yeah?
Right.
It don't even matter which fadeaway I'm talking about. You know what I mean.
Right.
That's what I mean. That's branding. When you present it at that level or that if the quality is that high, then you don't have to oversaturate. But that's just a strategy. Everyone has their own strategy.
Right.
And I don't mean strategy in some sort of like business specific way. I just mean that's the way I approach the world. I don't want it to be quantity based. I don't wake up every day feeling like making a record. You get me?
Right.
So I want to make sure when it matters, it counts. It's important. It's expressive.
In St. John's case, he's decided to go against a strategy of high saturation and focused on quality and refinement in all things related to him. Many people think that brand and strategy are separate entities. However, your strategy drives your brand's influence, and the strength of your brand can have an effect on your strategy. Misaligned strategy can destroy a brand, and a strategy that doesn't take into account a brand is doomed to fail. Craft your brand and make sure the actions you take as you build your career align with that brand. If you have your brand solidified from the outset, you, not others, get to define who you are as an artist, and it makes the process of making critical decisions in your career easier as those actions align with your brand.
Musically, fam, I had to have my goal. I had to have my sights set. My sights were set a long time ago. I had to decide a long time ago.
How long you been doing music?
It takes a decade to be this good.
Yeah, you're fire, man.
Thank you.
Yeah. I remember when I heard that I heard you got too lit last night for the first time like a year ago. I was like, yo, I DM'd you. I was like, bro, the album is crazy.
He said I DM'd you.
I was like, bro.
I DM'd you to tell you how good this shit was.
Thank you, fam. I appreciate that. Yeah, it takes a long time. I don't know if 10 years is a long time, but it takes an investment, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
To really be like I know what I'm doing or what I want to do. I'm not thinking twice in the studio. I'm not overstepping myself. I'm not second guessing myself. Like I'm in it. I'm in my moment.
Taking time to develop your skills and create your own unique style as an artist is essential. As an artist, this is exactly what will allow you to stand out and have a long career. But to really develop a unique style, it takes a lot of time, and honing your skills is a never-ending process if you're serious about art. Because of this, you can't necessarily be always trying to follow trends. You need to be making music and art that you love.
What would be your advice? Because there's people who are learning about you right now. There's people who have known about you for a couple years now. For an independent artist right now, you got any advice?
Yeah, if you don't really want to do this, don't do this. There's other ways to chase it back. If this is what you sincerely desire, it requires time, effort, and patience. You're on your own shot clock.
Mm-hmm.
Most people aren't willing to they're not really willing to put the time in. How many people are willing to do a decade internship until you make your
most
first
people want
dollar?
it to be.
Not very many. But that's what it takes to be something that's supposed to be magical, right? All your favorite anything, most of it didn't happen overnight. Most of it was a really long, slow walk.
You have to love it because the process of developing your own style and polishing your skills at your craft is a long one. It requires study, massive amounts of creation, and failure.
Yeah.
So I went from that into putting out records myself, and that failed. And failure was really good for me. I think failure is good for anybody around
I agree
me.
with that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I wrote
I
a
always
song.
think you got to be whack first.
You have to.
Not that you were necessarily
No,
whack.
I'm sure it was trash.
Were
At
you
some
trash?
point. At some point.
Because you have to be. I saw Alicia
some
Keys
point.
post that yesterday. You have to be like whack. It's true. You got to be whack before you can be great. Because otherwise, you're not going through the process. You can't jump to greatness out
Absolutely.
of nowhere. Yeah, I agree. I
So
agree.
it took a second. Then I wrote a song for a friend of mine. The chorus found its way into an executive's hands. It was the first time I'd met a real music executive.
What is the chorus?
I don't know. It might
Come
have been half-
on, this is part of the story.
It was got hurricanes and tornadoes. That was the name of the record.
Uh-huh.
And an executive found it. Like 7 hours after we put it out. It was Zach Katz. He runs BMG now. I think he just left BMG worldwide.
Wow.
He was doing something else on a really high level. He said,
Okay.
come to LA. I went to LA. I was like, I'd never been to LA. My first time. And executives like, come to LA. I went. He said, yo, write these songs for Rihanna. I don't know what that meant. All I heard was Rihanna, fam. I was like, I'm in.
Whatever Rihanna
I was like,
wants.
whatever she want to do, I'm doing. But I didn't know at the time that meant write these songs and we will pitch them to her. Don't mean you hear the name and you just jump. So it didn't work. And I was fine because the failure was good for me. I came back to New York. I was only there for a couple months. I came back to New York and I happened to write another song for a guy who was bubbling here. It was a successful record for him. It's a song called No Interruption. So it was really good for him. And it was my first entry point into publishing and writing. I didn't know what that meant.
Yeah.
I didn't know what it could be. I could write a song and then 20 million people could hear it and they didn't even have my voice. And I did it in 30, 45 minutes. Not to say that all great songs come about like that, but when the opportunity comes like that, it sparks something in you. It gives you restorative hope. I was like, I could dream again. I could dream bigger.
In the book Art and Fear by David Bales and Ted Orland, they document a process a ceramics teacher uses to teach his class. The teacher divides the class into 2 groups. Group A is graded on producing quantity of pots, so they have to make 50 pounds worth of pots to get an A. Group B was graded on the quality of the pots. They had to produce 1 pot, but it had to be perfect. What ended up happening was that Group A not only produced more pots, they produced better quality pots as well. The practice and learning from producing so much meant that they got better at putting out quality. This is something seen across art in all forms.
Okay. Because the okie doke, the game is, yo, write 1 record to change your life. You know, you understand?
Yeah.
1 song will change your life. Nigga, no.
That's
no
what they tell
won't.
us. They tell us that.
It's bullshit.
It is.
Yeah.
Pump It Up didn't change
It'll
everything?
change a lot of lives.
It'll change
Right.
something for you.
It's gonna be 500 records before that 1 record.
Pressure.
Why is this the case? Because it takes time to get good. There is a gap between your taste level and your skill level. To close the gap, you have to create. Listen as Ira Glass breaks it down.
Nobody tells people who are beginners, and I really wish somebody had told this to me, is that if you're watching this video, somebody who wants to make videos, right? And all of us who do creative work, like, we get into it, and we get into it because we have good taste. Do you know what I mean? Like, you want to make TV because you love TV. You know what I mean? Because there's stuff that you just, love, okay? So you've got really good taste. And you get into this thing that I don't even know how to describe, but it's like there's a gap. That for the first couple years that you're making stuff, what you're making isn't so good, okay? It's not that great. It's really not that great. It's trying to be good. It has ambition to be good, but it's not quite that good. But your taste, the thing that got you into the game, your taste is still killer. And your taste is good enough that you can tell that what you're making is kind of a disappointment to you. You know what I mean? Like, you can tell that it's still sort of crappy. A lot of people never get past that phase. A lot of people at that point, they quit. And the thing I would just say to you with all my heart is that most everybody I know who does interesting creative work, they went through a phase of years where they had really good taste. They could tell what they were making wasn't as good as they wanted it to be. They knew it felt short. And some of us can admit that to ourselves, and some of us are a little less able to admit that to themselves. But we knew it didn't have this special thing that we wanted it to have. And the thing I would say to you is everybody goes through that. And for you to go through it, if you're going through it right now, if you're just getting out of that phase, or if you're just starting off and you're entering into that phase, you got to know it's totally normal. And the most important possible thing you could do is do a lot of work. Do a huge volume of work. Put yourself on a deadline so that every week or every month you know you're going to finish 1 story. You know what I mean? Whatever it's going to be, you create the deadline. It's best if you have somebody who's waiting for work for you, somebody who's expecting it from you, even if it's not somebody who pays you, but that you're in a situation where you have to turn out the work. Because it's only by actually going through a volume of work that you're actually going to catch up and close that gap. And the work you're making will be as good as your ambitions.
Style is similar. Developing your unique style not only requires you to close that skill gap, it requires study. It requires exposure to different styles. It requires some copying and trying out different styles you like, also that you can mix together concepts and techniques in your mind. When you hear something you like, try and figure out how it's done. When you figure out what someone else has done, you grow. You internalize new ideas. This is a way to store up musical muscle memory for your future creativity and improvisation. Achieve a versatility that will empower you to become anything that you want to be. By directly experiencing all these different creative languages, you build up an overall understanding of everything that is out there. Only by exploring the range of available options can you then narrow your focus to what it is you want it to be. The payoff for all this work is that those skills, ideas, concepts, and techniques you've been taking all the time to learn are mixed together in your head, and you have the skill to bring them to life in the way you want, in a form that is unique to you and stands out. And being able to create exactly what you want at a high level means that you do not have to follow trends. In fact, you can create without compromise and be selfish with your art.
I think of everything in the same way, right? What that means is I make the things that I want to sell. And I want to see the show that I'm putting on.
So you would like, I want to do a show that someone's going to want to buy a ticket to. Like I would want to buy a ticket to. That makes sense.
I would want to go to the show.
That's dope.
That's how I perform.
When I say you can be selfish with your art, I mean creating from a place of wise selfishness. The act of being selfish is acting in your own self-interest. A wise approach to selfishness is still acting in your own self-interest while taking a broader view and recognizing how those actions impact others. The Dalai Lama describes it this way. Being wise selfish means taking a broader view and recognizing that our own long-term individual interests lie in the welfare of everyone. Being wise selfish means being compassionate. As an artist, you impact others with the messages in your music or the pleasure or feelings in general that your fans and listeners take from it. Saint John readily admits he creates selfishly, but he also has his fans in mind when doing so. He can't be restricted by fan expectations.
What do you want out of music?
I want it to be better.
Talk about that.
I want it to be better. I make things for my own selfish purposes. That's the truth. It don't matter what the fuck I make. I made it for me. It was self-serving first. I care what I think the most. I'm arrogant as fuck in that regard because I care about what I make for me. If all I want to do is love it, right? So if everyone was making, or anyone was making exactly what I wanted to hear, just like exactly, they curated my day. They made all the songs I wanted to hear. I'd have no purpose. There's no point. I have no perspective. I don't need to say anything. Someone's articulating exactly what I want to see in the world. But it's missing. I want it to be better. Not saying I make the greatest music on the planet, but I want to, and I wake up trying to do that every day.
Like I have no problem finding all the fulfilling, amazing, inventive, thought-provoking, deep hip hop that I want. I have no problem. I listen to from hip hop to rock music to blues to all of that stuff. Like I find all the greatest music that I want to listen to.
Right.
But so many people feel unfulfilled by what's out there in the musical space.
No, that's bullshit.
Why do you think they feel that way?
I think anyone who thinks the music that, like there's not enough good music, those people are self-serving and lazy.
Right.
All you gotta do is look. All you gotta do is look. There's all types of records everywhere. All you really, really gotta do is look, right? But I want to oversimplify it for them.
You want to make it just
I'm gonna make it real easy. Just come to me.
Just come to you.
That's what I'd like to do.
They get everybody there to get everything that they need from you. So
That'd be cool.
My point is, eventually, your music, or probably even already right now, is going to mean that much to someone.
Yeah.
Do you ever feel a sense of responsibility to communicate the right things?
Always.
To put the right messages? And do you ever find yourself censoring or editing yourself because you feel like people could like misconstrue you or take you out of context?
I haven't gotten to the point where I'm editing myself, but I'm conscious. I know there's a 9-year-old kid that's going to be like, yo, I grew up listening to Saint John. If I don't stop, if I just keep going on my path, there's a 9-year-old somewhere, no matter what happens in my career, it's going to be like, I grew up listening to you and your words meant something to me. So I'm conscious of that. But I don't want to live my life for the purpose of entertaining people or for the purpose of just principally guiding people, right? I understand that that's part of my responsibility, but I'm here too on this planet with you too, figuring it out too. And that's where I'm at. So I'm responsible, but I'm growing.
At the same time, he knows he can create exactly what he wants for a couple of reasons. First, as we previously broke down, he took the time to build up his skills so that even if he experimented with style and sound to make something fans wouldn't expect, the skill level is such that the execution can be well done, resulting in a pleasant surprise rather than disappointment. The other aspect is that he knows that the internet allows his music to find the right fans in their niche and subculture that wants or needs the music.
You already created a whole lane for yourself and a whole business.
Yeah. I mean, the internet is the world, right?
Yeah.
That's where all of us live. I can go sell out a tour and we were doing dates in Egypt. I'm worth thousands of tickets in Egypt and thousands of tickets in Moscow, and that's strange. And I just put my foot on that soil for the first time. But the internet allows that.
Absolutely.
That's the magic of right now. Like, you don't got to know, but subculture is prevalent. You could be hot in your pocket anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
There's somebody just on fire that you're like, who?
I think it's beautiful how artists now can just take advantage of their free platforms that are available
Yeah.
to them and just put their art out there.
Yeah, it's a great time. It's a great time to be an independent artist. It's a great time to have a good idea.
That awareness of wide audiences means he's not necessarily solely focused on massive success of a song or appealing to a particular fan base. Rather, he allows the songs to find the people who need them like he did when he made them.
Listen, we were talking off mic about just some of the pressures that come along with being a new artist, having to deliver in this microwave era. And I was saying how that would probably intimidate me a little bit, like in a moment of vulnerability, like having to produce every 4 to 6 months. And that is the predicament y'all find yourselves in, right?
I mean, you talking about the people that don't got it. If they don't got it, they don't got it.
Oh, like designer, you mean?
Who you said?
I didn't hear. And I don't know if designer has it or not, but he was cursing Kanye in the mouth.
Yeah, if you got it, what you worried about?
Losing it or overproducing it?
Nah.
Or mass producing it?
Mass producing it, that's one thing. But
Like
that's not
Fetty had it and came out and then had 7 number ones in the span of a year, and then the next year it was difficult. And people stopped viewing him as the guy who had 7 number ones or number top 5 hits in a year.
Right. It's like you got to do it every night. You think about it. It's sportsmanship. You got to do it every night. You caught your ring last year. That was last year. And that's for anybody, just in general. That's where we're at. You got to be Jordan every night.
Huh.
And when you think of it like that, it opens up so many other doors for the nigga that might be Jordan.
So what does this all mean? First, as you just heard, the ability to stay hot and have sustained success depends on a strong foundation that you continually build upon. As Saint John said, it kind of requires you to be Jordan every night. Well, Jordan didn't rely on just athleticism or flash. He got the most out of that after putting in a ton of work to continually polish the fundamentals. For an artist, it's the same, understanding that it's a never-ending process.
It's not a place where you rest. I don't feel anything. How I really feel when I wake up in the morning, I wake up like it's not working.
Think it's
That's what I wake up and say. It's not working. It's not happening. It's not impacting. People aren't responding, because that allows me to get to the next day with a lot more fire, a lot more intensity than I woke up with the day before. Like, that's how I keep going. So there's no moment where I really take to celebrate anything. For me, it's nothing to celebrate. It's just, okay, we're starting to have some impact. People are paying attention, meaning people are listening. That was the only thing. That was the only intent. Can you hear this music that I'm making? Is it cool? You like these shows? You like these sexy leather pants that I made? Is that cool?
As an artist, it's natural to think that if your music is dope, people will ultimately discover it and you'll have a long career. Some think that their talent alone will bring them to the top. With this mindset, you tend to focus on the art and hope the universe and stars align and your dreams will come true. Now, don't get me wrong, all of this is true, and you need to have faith in your abilities. However, you need a vision and clear path as well. Lucky moments will happen to you, but it'll be a waste if you aren't prepared to make the most of them. In order to create opportunities, it takes time and work. To make the most of these opportunities and take your career where you want it, you need to be able to take the time to define your vision. You need to be able to take the time to build your brand, which will be the foundation for attracting fans and telling the world who you are. Take the time to create your unique style as an artist and embrace the process of always building your skill set. Do this, and when your lucky moment comes, the success will be huge. But remember, creating the full package takes time. You can't skip steps. Thank you for watching. I really hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. Leave your thoughts in the comments, or leave suggestions on other artists and topics I should look into next.